what blew me away about LJ Martin, the yards after contact.
Yeah.
Over 14 yards per carry after contact.
I'll agree with that.
That's insane.
I think more than
Unbelievable.
more than his stats. And when we were watching, I almost was like, who is that? I don't know if you remember. I was like, is that LJ Martin?
Defensive back or a cornerback, you got Bear Bachmeier running down the field towards you, right? It's like, oh, I don't.
And you're not like, oh, here comes the freshman quarterback. It's a truck, you know.
But what I took away is we're going to be national champions, baby.
What I'm talking about.
All right, there's the blue goggles. You don't have to count on me. This is All In on Blue, brought to you by Beehive Broadcast. And we're here today. We're a family. We're all in on blue, and we hope you are too, and that you'll join us. We're going to go through a number of things today. We're going to start by recapping the Portland State game.
We're going to jump into the road ahead, what we have coming up.
And then we're going to get our Cougar crystal ball going on, where we're
the crystal
kind
ball.
of dissecting the season. What are our predictions? What are our hopes and dreams? What are maybe the floors, unrealistic expectations? We're going to give you all of it. So.
Then we're going to give you some hot takes to wrap it up, and you're not going to want to miss those because they're going to be bold and exciting. Why don't we go ahead and start with you, Keith? If you want to just tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're here.
Yeah. So my name's Keith. I've coached a lot of football. I've played football my entire life. I played at BYU a little bit, but I'm
a long time ago.
A long time ago. But, just a big Cougar fan.
I'll go next. My name's Taylor, and I am his son and his favorite nephew. And I've spent a lot of time talking football with these guys. I grew up a huge BYU fan. I dreamed of playing there, and I actually played at Snow College with a bunch of the guys that are on the current team. So that's kind of fun to stay connected with them, and we'll dive deep into their playing throughout the year. And yeah, so
we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. I know and speaking for them as well, that our passion for BYU sports, BYU football runs deep. I know for me, it started as a young boy listening on KSL radio of all things. But as a kid listening to the radio, I lived on a farm in Idaho, and I would listen to my dad every Saturday. And this was during the early 80s, of course, that big buildup with Steve Young, and then, of course, the national championship and Robbie Bosco. And I just learned to really love BYU sports. And then my first love, and when I really, really set in 1985, the year after the national championship, we came down to Provo with the whole family. And I remember first walking through the bookstore on campus at BYU, and there's videos with national championship, there's posters, and I just immediately knew this is where I wanted to go to school. This is where I wanted to play football. And then I convinced my parents to go see the stadium. And I'll never forget that moment. I walked up and looked in that gate. It was locked. We couldn't get in, but climbed up as high as I could on the gates, looked in and saw that field. And that feeling, that stadium, I know Lavelle Edwards Stadium at the time, Cougar Stadium, right? It was empty, but still just the spirit, that vibe was just immense.
What has happened there, what you would watch that happened there. I always feel that way when I go. I'm like, man, remember this and that and this and that. It's pretty cool feeling.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and I guess I just followed you there.
Yeah, little brother. I will say this, throughout this, I have kind of made it a point. I'm a big BYU fan, but I try to remove the goggles as often as I can, where I'm like, oh, we're going to go undefeated every single year, And I think that I've noticed from both of you, you're big fans. And I'm going to try and bring us to reality to make sure that our listeners don't think, oh, these guys just talk about, we're undefeated every single year, But I'm excited for this year. But I am wary of a couple things. So we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
But a little bit of blue goggles.
A little bit of blue.
No,
don't get me wrong. I'm just for the listener's sake, wouldn't you say? That's important.
I don't know. We got a lot of listeners out there. I know we do that wearing the blue goggles.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's true. We need you. I'm not saying we don't need you. I'm just saying we need me too. Just kidding.
I'll throw in a little bit of blue goggles.
Good.
All right.
Good.
So let's talk. Let's just recap. Let's step back to the game because we're now what 3-4 days in from the first game of the season, BYU football, right, versus Portland State. What were your thoughts? What were your takeaways?
So I think my biggest take, it's easy to be like, oh, we won 69-0. Yeah, what a great game. But like I said, I think we have to realize like this Portland State team did lose the previous week 42-0 to a different FCS team that's not all that great, Tarleton State. So I look at this game and I see a few things where I'm like, I don't really know how optimistic we can be yet. I'm not saying we can't. There were pretty much only great things, but like we didn't score on our first drive. We punted. We had the fumble on the punt return from Parker Kingston, which love Parker Kingston. I think he's a great player, but I mean, a few things where you're like, okay, when you're playing a team that's might be the worst team in FCS, we don't know yet, but you probably should score on your first drive, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was tough. It was the first game, right? So maybe some first game jitters, but what I took away is we're going to be national champions, baby.
What I'm talking about.
All right, there's the blue goggles. You don't have to count on me. Blue goggles.
No, I thought the same. Just a slow start. But you get the first game jitters, but I think
that's true.
After, halfway through the first quarter, there wasn't a lot we could complain about.
That's true.
We did everything that we possibly could do. I think our rushing was pretty incredible. Everyone who touched the ball was running, and we held them to, I think it was negative rush yards, -5 if I remember right. So, I don't know that you can ask for too much more, other than if we had kept the gas on, we probably could have beat them by more, but I don't know that anyone wants to do that at this point in the season.
Yeah.
We did everything that's expected of a P4 that's trying to prove themselves against an FCS, right? In a half, really, we did that in one half of the game.
Yeah.
Right? Have our starters come out. I don't think any starters played in the second half.
Yeah, I think we had maybe a first drive. I think our offense stayed pretty much the same with the second half. But what did you guys think of Bear? What do you think of Bear's debut?
So that was one of my big takeaways from it that I was looking for. I think overall, this team in all aspects of the game performed, maybe even exceeded expectations. What I was really looking for, because the big question mark in my mind going into that game was, is Bear ready? Is Bear Bachmeier gonna do a good job? Now, were his stats amazing? Well, he got 5 touchdowns, right? I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Because scoring is the goal of the game, right? If you're great, you score. And he got those 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. But what I love probably more than anything, because he's a freshman, we were against Portland State. We don't know. Portland State doesn't appear to be good at all, right? So, but he seemed poised. It was the reads. I don't think he missed a read, right? His throws were a little off. He had a couple that he threw too long, one that he threw too short, into the end zone to our tight end. But he was poised and he was making the right reads. To me, that says a lot about him as a true freshman, that he's ready to play the game.
Yeah, it also seemed like he was ready from a leadership standpoint. I mean, you got to think about this. I mean, there are guys that are my age, 26 years old, on BYU's team, and this guy just graduated high school. So, I mean, last fall, he was playing high school football. And so I think that it was impressive to see him show up and be ready to be, I mean, you're the quarterback, you're the leader. I don't care what anyone says. There are other great leaders on the team that are older, whatever, but looked like he showed up and he was ready to command that offense and be in charge of it and be a leader on the sideline, on the field and on the sideline.
Yeah, I think his arms looked great. Looked like he did probably about what I expect against a team like Portland State. But I think he also showed a lot of mobility. Was able to move better than I thought, had some good runs. And I think, in today's football, having a mobile quarterback really makes you a much harder team to prepare for.
Yeah, that's true.
And with his size, I mean, he filled the role, right? I mean, not just because of his size. And I don't know if you heard the comments by their coach afterward.
Yeah,
we don't need to go into it, but man, he said he really fit that, right? I mean, you imagine yourself as a defensive back or a cornerback, and you got Bear Bachmeier running down the field towards you, right? It's like, I don't.
And you're not like, oh, here comes the freshman quarterback. It's a truck, which you might
exactly
think
right.
on occasion.
Yeah. Or he's a bear.
All right, guys. Time to move on to the grade book. Let's take a look at it. What's your grade on BYU versus Portland State? Keith?
I'm going to give him an A-. A little tough to know because it was Portland State and you saw the starters for part of it, but I think it showed depth, everything other than a little bit of, slow start. I'm maybe it's an optimistic A-, but I don't know what else they could show in a game that they dominated from mid first quarter all the way through, even with their second and third strings getting quite a bit of playing time.
Well, I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna give you the last word here. I'm gonna say an A, and maybe that's blue goggles. I don't think it is.
I think you might both have a little bit of blue goggles, but that's okay. No, that's okay.
It's hard to say against Portland State just how good they were, but how can you argue against the outcome of that game and what we did in the first half? There's room for improvement. There's still some things, Bear wasn't perfect. His passes weren't perfect. There were some jitters, right? There was the muffed punt, right? So, there's some things to improve upon, but I'm going to go with a solid A on that game.
I think that's plenty fair. I'm going to go with a B just because I think, like, if we put it up to expectations for Portland State, yeah, it's great. But if we start the way we did against the teams we want and expect to beat later this year, I don't think it's going to happen. Because, you start with a punt against that bad of a team, and then you have a fumbled punt return, things like that. Obviously, it got rolling, and it worked out really well. So I'm not going to say it was terrible. But, the spread, I believe, was 42.5, and I didn't think we were going to cover it because I didn't think Kalani would put the beat down on like that. He didn't need to. We hardly threw the ball. We exceeded expectations, but there's still a lot to improve on. So I'll say a B. A B.
Yeah. Good. So we averaged an A-.
Yeah.
A-. Right. I was thinking we could go A+, right? So, right. There's room for improvement
either. A B's a good grade. A B is a great grade.
All right. So you mentioned, Taylor, you mentioned coming up with Stanford. Let's talk about the road ahead here. We got Stanford coming up this Saturday, another night game. And what do you think?
I think that'll play into it. Night game in Provo, and it's warm. And when it's a warm night in Provo, that place is rocking. Stanford just got beat in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Lost 23-20, I'm pretty sure. And
sounds right.
Yep. Stanford, they weren't favored to win, and they didn't win. Last game of last year, they lost to San Jose State. I would be the Vegas line for our game. I know you guys aren't betting men, but the Vegas line for our game this week is 20.5. I would be sad if we didn't beat them by 3 touchdowns.
This morning, I think it was adjusted this morning. 18.5 is what
18.5.
Yeah,
I saw
the spread.
I saw about 20 minutes ago.
18.
20.5.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I saw. But
Vegas is always changing it. So there you go.
Always changing. They think we're getting better as time goes on. Bear's getting better in his sleep. Just kidding. So I don't know.
They probably actually just watched the game for the first time because it was on ESPN Plus, right? So they didn't watch it. They just now they're finally watching it. So upgrading us.
I would expect we win by at least 3 touchdowns. Looking at some of their stats that Stanford had, they struggled quite a bit passing. They struggled. They didn't have a lot of rush yards. It's not that they just got beat, but I feel like, if this first game is any indicator, I think we'll come in strong. and be fine.
Here's what I base my expectation off of is if we win 28-14, do we think that's a good game? And I don't think so. Because I think if we only beat Stanford by 2 touchdowns, I think we're going to be kicking and screaming for a bowl game. I mean, I think we need to beat them by more to show that we have an opportunity to have a special season.
I think we need to be careful, though, not to underestimate Stanford. I mean, Stanford came in rough, but they got a new coach, interim coach, right? And Frank Reich. Of course, he's got tons of NFL experience. They were really good in the box. I mean, they've got a lot of they've got really good inside linebacker, really good defensive, up front. They're a strong team, and they got plenty of talent as a P4. I think it would be a mistake, and I hope that we'll be ready for them, because I don't think they're going to be the same team that we saw traveling to Hawaii. It's hard to go on the road in Hawaii in the first place. A lot of distractions. First game of the season on the road. They've also had an extra week to prepare because it was a game 0 or a week 0 game.
Yeah.
Right. So
week
not a
1
true
to week
buy,
2
but
changes a lot too. Yeah. You never know.
And their quarterback, right? Ben Gunderson. He had experience. He did something at Oregon, transfer from Oregon State, I believe 2022, had a 10-win season. So he's a junior with experience. It's a new interim coach, new offense. They're going to, I think, make a lot of strides over the next week. Frank Reich is a powerhouse of a coach when it comes to offensive strategy, working with quarterbacks, played quarterback in the NFL for a number of years, and has now granted he's here for 1 year, brought in by Andrew Luck. But I think he's going to be a lot better, and they're going to play on what they saw. They're going to try to stop the run. They're going to put in a lot of pressure on our true freshman quarterback, see if they can rattle him. I think you're going to see them load the box, 7 players up front, trying to put a lot of pressure. I think for us to win this game and come out real well, because they're going to try to stop LJ Martin, going to really focus on that run. We're going to have to see Bear Bachmeier really step up and make some really good quality passes, because they'll be playing man. So he's going to have to be more accurate than he was last week.
We're going to have to open up the pass game. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Which we didn't have to do.
But I agree with Taylor. Even though they might be a tough team, if we can't cover at least 3 touchdowns, we're going to have a hard season, because we have a lot tougher games, I think.
As I looked through our schedule, and maybe this is part of a different segment, but as I was looking through our schedule, there are 4 or 5 games in a row that all of a sudden seem a lot harder this week than they did last week before all those teams played. I mean, I believe we've got a stretch of Arizona, which we don't know about them, Iowa State, Utah, TCU, Texas Tech. I mean, I think those are 5, if I'm not mistaken, those are 5 games in a row that I was thinking about it. I'm like, before the season, I would chalk up a lot of those as wins. After the season, those 5 teams, the way they played in week 1, I'm like, oof. Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to play really well against Stanford for me to feel confident going into those games that are coming up.
Even ECU.
Yeah.
I think Eastern Carolina could sneak up on us.
And Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Not saying they're bad, but they've lost some of their marquee players, and I think they lost week 1, didn't they? They lost to somebody. I can't remember who. But.
Okay, so what does BYU have to do to win? What's one thing that BYU, if they do this well, they probably win? And what's one thing that if Stanford does well, they could probably win? Keith?
I think BYU just needs to keep the pressure on, stay focused. I think they showed that they have the talent to win a game against Stanford, unless they lose sight of what they were doing, right? Oftentimes coming after a big win. So if you say, that was a big win, but because it was a big score, but as long as they stay focused, I think they win this game.
I think we're going to find out how good our offensive and defensive line are, because when you're playing against Portland State, you've got the bodies, you've got the recruits. I mean, a lot of times you're going to overpower the line of scrimmage without trying too hard. I think Stanford's a different story, where they're going to have size, they're going to have big bodies, and it's going to be, okay, is our offensive line capable is our defensive line really going to penetrate? I really liked John Taumapeu. He's one of my former teammates. And when I was with him at Snow, he ran the field. And I knew when he got to BYU, he was going to do what he's doing. But he showed out this week, I thought. And I think he'll continue to do so. So same with Tanuvasa. I think he's going to do really well. So we'll see. I don't know.
And Tanuvasa, I believe, was graded the best defensive lineman, right, in all of CFB last week. And I think Isaiah Jada on our offensive line, which surprised to me.
Former teammate as well.
Your former teammate of you, Taylor.
One of my good friends. Yeah.
I think he was graded number 2 offensive lineman.
Wow.
So we'll see what we can do, right? That's against Portland State. So if they can do that, because I agree with you, if we can control the line, right, we're gonna win, right? Yeah. We're gonna win this game. I believe, and I would give it three scores.
Do we cover 20.5?
I would say no. I would bet no. We don't cover 20.5.
I think
I'd love to see it.
I'm putting my blue goggles on, and I think
I'm saying 17. I'm saying 17.
Okay, 17-point win. What are you thinking?
I'm going with a 4-touchdown win.
Oh,
I think we're going to win by between 21 and 28. That's my guess. Somewhere in there. We'll see. Can't wait.
Hope you're both right.
Excited to watch. Night game in Provo. Excited to watch.
Okay, let's move on to our crystal ball, our Cougar crystal ball for today. What do you predict for the season? If you're projecting out there saying, "Hey, what do you expect?" and then let's give us a floor and a ceiling. Go ahead, Keith.
Well, all right. So as I look through the schedule, I feel like we could win every game, right? There's no games on that schedule that I think are a for sure loss. But there is a tough stretch in there. And so, if we lose everyone that's going to be close, I think it might be as low as 8. If we...
Blue goggles, Taylor. What do you think? What do you think? You're the objective one.
8-win season. That'd be terrible.
No, but I think you look at that. But I do think every game is very possible. So I'm going to give my prediction of 10. I think we can win 10 of those.
10 wins.
10's the ceiling and 8's the floor. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No. That's fine.
I think 12's the ceiling.
You're right. 12's the ceiling, 8's the floor. So your prediction's 10.
I'm going 10.
Okay. All right. I can get behind that.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I would have to say, I think we're good. It's just, to me, it's not realistic to say we're not going to have a loss or two in there somewhere, right? We'd all love to say, hey, we're going undefeated this year, right? Put the blue goggles on and believe that. I would love to see it. Do we have the potential, right? The talent, the chemistry in particular, I think with this team, maybe more than ever, this team just has amazing chemistry. So could they do it? Sure. But I'm going to have to say the ceiling is that one loss, that 11 win season. And for the floor, based on what I've seen with Bear Bachmeier, I'd have to agree with you, Keith, and go 8-4 as our floor, because they are going to go through a rough spot there. But I'm going to say 10 wins. I think we're going to lose a couple on the road here in after we beat Utah. I think we're going to lose a couple.
We can agree on that one. Just kidding. We can hope.
Well, don't try and get out of it, Taylor. You clearly thought we were blue goggles.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say this. Okay, Stanford, East Carolina wins in my book. Carolina's a win, I hope. Colorado, I hope it's a win. I think it's a win. West Virginia, I think it's a win. I hope it's a win. All right, then we get into Arizona, who had a blowout win. That's all we know about them. Utah, who looked really good this weekend, maybe better than anyone that I watched. Iowa State, who beat Kansas State and in a dogfight across the ocean in Ireland. Cool game. They're good. Texas Tech looked really good. TCU looked really good. Cincinnati looked pretty dang good. So UCF is the last game. So it's like we really, once we get past, and even Colorado, they lost the game, but our schedule seemed to be easy to me, but everybody looked good in week 1, pretty much. And so my thought is, yes, I do think we could win every game we play. So I just, a lot depends on how good is Bear, and we don't know. I think if we had Retzlaff, I'd be a lot more confident to say, hey, our quarterback chemistry is good. Everyone on our team has played together, because we didn't lose a lot of pieces from last year. But I would say our ceiling, I'd say at 11. Ceiling's 11, but I do think the floor is 6 or 7. Because Bear Bachmeier has a bad game, 2 bad games, and then we're in an Isaac Wilson situation from last year, and we're playing roulette with our quarterbacks. And I do think that realistically could happen. It's hard to say after a week 1 win, but that's just my thoughts.
Well, and injuries, right? I mean, we did amazingly well at avoiding injuries last year. Hopefully that wasn't a fluke. Hopefully that is our new strength and conditioning, right? They put a lot of emphasis on that, nutrition, so forth, right? But injuries can always derail a season.
Yeah.
But it seems like we've got good depth.
Yeah, I like
right?
Hillstead too. I do like Hillstead as quarterback.
You know him.
So I know I was at Utah State for spring ball, and a lot of my teammates from there said that they really liked how he played.
Yeah.
So I don't know him personally, but I do like.
Well, he's got wheels. I know that.
I do like how he plays.
I think he ran a 10.7 if I remember correctly.
Fast, he can throw
100 meters. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, before we move on, I think we need a prediction, Taylor. That sounded like a lot of great fluff.
No.
You gave a floor and a ceiling. You didn't give us a prediction.
Okay, I'm going to say 9. 9 wins.
9 wins. Does that include the bowl game or?
No, that doesn't include the bowl.
Good.
9 regular season, because I think there are about 6 coin flips of games as of right now.
Do we make the conference championship? Maybe that's where we end it. Are we in the conference championship, Keith?
Yes.
I think we make the conference championship. Taylor.
I'm going to say no, but yes next year.
Yeah. We have a lot of talent.
I'd love to.
We have a lot of up and coming talent.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Okay. All right. Let's do a hot take. Let's have a little fun here.
All right. My hot take is that the Utah Jazz are going to get the first pick in the draft next year.
I hope so.
I am definitely a Jazz fan, but no, this will be my hot take. My hot take is that Martin will rush for over 150 this week. Good. He did, and for I think that his carries, he only had 8. And I think even if Stanford is much better, I think he's going to rush for at least 150.
What blew me away about LJ Martin in this game, I mean, it's hard to say, but was those carries after the yards after contact. Yeah. Over 14 yards per carry after contact.
I'll agree with that.
That's insane. Now, yes, it's an FCS, Portland State, but they still got athletes. When you got guys' hands on you trying to bring you down, that's impressive.
I think more than his stats, because we all watched the game together. And when we were watching, I almost was like, who is that? I don't know if you remember. I was like, is that LJ Martin? Because it looks like I think he's gained weight, but he's slimmed down, and he looks way quicker than he did last year, in my opinion.
Looks more fit, and he's healthy. I know last year he was dealing with injury.
Yeah, which is hard too, because people are like, oh, his ankle's hurting, but that also hurts how you work out in your cardio. It hurts your explosiveness. It hurts everything. Yeah. Okay, that's a good hot take.
What's your hot take?
My hot take is that I think I've already shouted him out once, but John Taumaupeau, we call him JT. I think he's gonna have 2.5 sacks.
Good.
2.5. I mean that'd be a good day. 2.5 sacks for JT. That's my hot take.
We need to up our sacks.
Oh yeah.
We had a lot. We had a lot of pressures. There were, you're right. We came close.
They also
came
weren't
close,
taking
but 2
very many
sacks
shots.
was a little less than I would have hoped for in this game.
That's true, especially because our D-line. I've been excited about our D-line all year. So we'll see. What about you, Dave?
My hot take is Bear Bachmeier. Okay, so I heard an interview with, I believe it was his high school coach, and his high school coach was talking about how intelligent this guy is and how he picked up on the playbook so quickly. Coming spring ball, played at Stanford, and he's here for 2 months, and all of a sudden he's not making any mistakes. His high school coach said he's fairly confident that Bear Bachmeier has a photographic memory. So with that physique, that photographic memory, I think we're going to see an historic season from Bear Bachmeier.
Okay.
Oh,
There
even
really
as a true
are-
freshman. Yeah.
That is a thing, though. There are quarterbacks that you play with that just know it somehow, and it's just like you were built to be a quarterback, and maybe he's that guy. I hope he is, according to his high school coach. We'll see, right? We'll see.
That's my favorite hot take. I would love to see a historic season.
More than 2.5 sacks from JT. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, and everybody knows Bear Bachmeier's a centaur now, so yeah.
I like it. According to Portland State's head coach, right?
Yes.
That's what he looked like.
Have you seen the floating around on? I think I saw it on TikTok, but someone immediately came out and posted a photo, obviously AI photo, right? Of bear. His head, the head's a bear. The body, you see this, this amazing abs, and then of course this thoroughbred.
He's a centaur.
Impressive.
What can we say?
That would be a great hot take.
Sweet.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for today. We thank you for watching our first episode of the podcast. It's been a lot of fun, and we hope you come back and watch us next week.
It has been, and that's one thing we enjoy is as family members that we've always grown up talking sports, and so we decided, hey, it'd be fun to do it on air, and so thanks for watching with us.
Yeah, felt a little bit like Sunday dinner.
Yeah, honestly.
It really did.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully you'll be all in with us next week, and we'll see you then. This is All In on Blue. I don't know why when I'm doing that, I start throwing this voice. I'm like, this is All In on Blue. Like, I can't be natural when I'm saying that. I don't know why.
I love it. Because I feel like if I'm just staring and like going like this,
Just put it more. I've talked a little too long a couple of times. All right. Cut.